Can you tell me the story of how you two met?
Of course, it's a beautiful story. We met at the University of Texas at El Paso, where both of us were studying. This was the year 1968, and I belonged to a fraternity called SAE. Your mom belonged to a sorority called Tri Delta. Both organizations were mutually connected in events, cultural events, social events, sporting events. And I managed, without knowing your mom personally, to spot her on a campus one day. I said, this gal I need to meet and try to date at some point. Then I started using my contacts in Tri Delta, the people that I did know. One person in particular, Jody McCreary, friend of mine and by coincidence a friend of Joan's, your mom's. And I asked her to mediate and try and get a date set up for us. That proved a little harder than I thought, and we had to try several times. Finally, my schedule, your mom's schedule, whatever, we weren't able to do it through Jody McCreary. And finally, through another person in Tri Delta, I managed to contact your mom. And after asking her out about 3 times, or in the same telephone call to 3 different events, finally she had an opening for one of them. So that was the start of everything. We went out that, once we set the date, we went out with my roommate and fellow fraternity brother, Bill Barnhill, and his date,
Who was at Tri Delta.
which was also a Tri Delta. And the first date we decided to go bar hopping in Juarez, which was a fun thing to do because each bar had its own little character. It was affordable, and usually there was music in the different bars. And if you did it with friends, you felt like it was the right thing to do. So we went to, I'd say, probably a dozen different places. Was it that many?
Dear heavens, I don't
Okay,
think so.
probably 6 different places.
Maybe he did that when he was
And-
just with guys.
And then, well, this was first for your mom. This going out drinking was a foreign thing. And
And we have a picture from that
we
first
have
day.
a picture. Somewhere we have a picture. You should see it sometime because it's a landmark. That basically is how it started.
And what about your first date?
That was the first date.
Well, okay, then second date.
I don't
After
even
that,
remember.
no, I don't remember that. The first date was memorable. We both liked each other. Are you still taping?
Yeah.
Okay, we both liked each other on the spot. I think it was what you call in Spanish a flechazo.
Yeah.
It was a flechazo. And
We
I
couldn't
guess
wait to
it's-
kiss each other.
well, correct. And I think the rest is history. We just started going out more and more and finding out more about ourselves. And
Oh, I can tell a fun story right there. Can I say something?
sure.
We were dating for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, seeing each other continually. And one time, I don't know if it was after the date or the next day, your father says, I think we need to date around. I think, we're seeing each other a lot, and I think maybe we should date others for a while. And I said, oh, okay, that sounds good to me. And so sure enough, that coming weekend, there was a party for all of the fraternities together. They had just gone through Rush. And I was invited by a friend, so I go to this party and I run into your father and I go, oh, hi, Courtney. And he looks at me like, and didn't say a word. And I thought, who the heck does that guy think he is? So I can only say that the next day I got a phone call from your father and he said, I think we need to talk. And I think that's when we both realized that we both really cared a lot about one another.
And how did you propose?
that's down the road, but in Indiana, at your mom's home, and it was kind of a strange environment because I think that Joan's father, Bill Sr., kind of felt this was coming on, and he was trying to avoid the whole thing. And I think we were watching a football game or something like that, and I tried to broach the subject and asking for his hand, and he stood up and went around. No, I think he was acting like he was asleep. That was the thing. And finally had to kind of, I think Pauline, Joan's mother, came in and, "Hey, Billy," and woke him up. Tried to get him involved because he was kind of drifting off, and finally I asked for Joan's hand, and then we brought out the champagne and celebrated.